Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Linda Mioba Show. First and foremost, I want us to put our hands together for the Croydon Millionaire Book Club. I want to give thanks to Blessing and to Nikki. You know, I've been to a lot of network marketing, and I must say this one is different. And I will give my testimony later on that, not today. Today is completely different. But I want to encourage everyone, if you know a friend who is maybe looking to define their passion, to find their way, direct them here to the Croydon Millionaire Book Club. Because this is where things happen. Dreams are manifested, and people tend to define their passion. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have in our midst a lady whom I'm honored to interview. Actually, I don't like using the word interview. Why? Because it's too formal. So we're just going to have a chat and get to know this lady. She's going to talk about her challenges. She's going to talk about what drives her, you know, what keeps her at night, and why she's so passionate about what she does. Today in our midst, ladies, we have a lady who is an entrepreneur. She's an author, and she's a trainer. She's been in the business for over 30 years, and she's trained over 3,700 people all around the world. Today is a pre-launch of her book. And if you're the type of person that struggles with selling, or you don't understand the concept of selling, this is the lady you need to speak to. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Diane Shawe. Thank you so much, Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you. Have a seat, please.
Thank you.
So, Diane,
Yes.
how
Here
was
we
your
are.
journey down here?
My journey was exceptional.
Today we are not talking about that. We are talking about Diane Shawe.
Yes.
We want to know who Diane Shawe is and the pre-launch of your new book.
Okay. Well, Diane Shawe, I'm one of 7. I have 5 brothers and 1 sister. And I have a son, and he has a son, so I'm also a grandmother.
You don't look it. You don't look it.
I have been self-employed for over 15 years, and I have worked in a variety of corporate businesses around the world, and now I've arrived at a point after receiving a lot of should we say, coaching from some multimillionaires in America, which was really supportive where I'm at now, and also my sort of strong belief in how I believe God intervenes and works in your life.
When I read your book, okay, I haven't read everything yet,
Yes.
but there are certain things that I picked up,
Right.
and which we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
Will that be okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, I need my book,
Mhm.
because we can't remember everything. Okay. So, the title of the book is Practical and Negotiating Skills.
Yes.
And in it you have the 15 habits of a successful women entrepreneur.
That's right.
I
Yes.
like that, 15 habits.
Yes.
So we are going to just narrow down to 3 habits that probably the entrepreneurs in the audience
Yes.
would want to pick up and work on.
Okay.
But you'll have to buy the book, unfortunately, for you to learn all the 15 habits. Today we're just going to narrow down to 3. Now, in your research,
Yes.
you say women are less comfortable in asking for help
Yes.
or asking for a raise
Yes.
at the workplaces. Why do you think that is?
Well, I discovered something over the years. Women are very good at complaining. They will complain to their friends or their women friends or their family about all the things that they're not being recognised for.
That's true.
But they won't actually structure a constructive way in putting their case across to the persons or people who are responsible for altering their action.
Could that be boiling down to fear, probably?
I think it's a mixture of fear, it's a mixture of non-experience, and it's also a fear of failure.
Okay.
and also the repercussions if you're not successful.
If you're not successful, and if somebody says no.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
To your request.
Precisely. So negotiating is very important, and having and developing the skill to do that is very important.
And they will find that in this book.
Oh, absolutely. When I decided to put this book together, I didn't want to put together a book of waffle, where you just waffle on about exposures and experiences. It's actually a book designed to help you to put your structure together by the time you finish reading the book.
So it's very practical,
Absolutely.
just like the name
It's very
says.
practical. You're going to be answering questions that are particular to your business and services, and by the time you finish, you should have your negotiating and selling structure in
That's
place.
wonderful. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I believe all of you want to be able to sell something. I'm really rubbish at selling, I must say.
I tell you, when I launched my hair extension business, and there was a story behind that.
Which you will share?
Of course, yes. I was in a £70,000 a year job. I was working for a French company, and I was the managing director for the UK. And I wanted to change my life. So I bought a book by Brian Tracy in the airport, and it was a thin book, 22 Steps to Becoming a Millionaire. I really recommend it. And
22 Steps to Becoming a Millionaire by Brian Tracy.
Yeah. So anyway, I was in the airport, and there was this lady with a beautiful suit on. And contrary to what they say about the women in Paris, I mean, they don't all dress beautiful, but she looked really nice.
Okay.
And I was contemplating how to ask her for where she got her suit from. However, she turned around, and I could see 2 layers of hair, a thick layer and a scraggly layer at the bottom. And I was like, why would you cut your hair
So
like
was it
that?
really complimenting what she was wearing?
Oh, absolutely not. So I became obsessed with her hair. This was a white lady, and I was like, what's going on with her hair? So I actually positioned myself, because she was getting on the same plane as me, to sort of be behind her when she was going up the steps onto the plane. And I was trying to strain my neck to see what was going on with her hair. This is in 2002.
2002.
So anyway, eventually, it was almost by serendipity, she sat next to me on the plane.
Okay.
So I'm reading my book, and I'm deciding how am I going to ask her about her hair. So of course I went, oh, where did you get your hair done then? And she mentioned some salon in Paris.
Sorry, yeah.
And my next question was really important. And I said to her, oh, did you get a good deal then? And she went, yes, I only paid 900 euros. And I went, only?
Only
To look like that? So I wrote in the book that I was reading, when this plane lands, I'm packing in my job, and I'm opening up a hair extension salon just for white girls.
Just like that?
Just like that. And that's what I
But
did.
prior to that encounter,
Yes.
had you thought of going into the hair business?
I'd invested in the hair business, but it was obviously within our community.
Okay.
It had never occurred to me that white girls would be
Maybe
one
interested,
day
yeah.
wearing hair extensions.
Absolutely, yeah. Because
And
they already have long hair.
Of course.
So what's the point of them having extensions?
Well, it was amazing because a lot of them wanted even longer hair.
Okay.
And a lot of them, because of all the bleaching and colouring and everything, their hair was thin. And then I discovered there was all these clients with who were suffering from cancer, where they'd lost their hair and alopecia.
Yeah.
And it was a broader market than I could ever imagine. And so now I basically service a lot of people in the Asian community, in the black community, in the white community.
And where are you based? Just for the sake of the people that do not know where your salon is,
I'm
very important.
Based in the West Midlands at the moment, and there's a story how I ended up there from London. I was over in Dubai in February. I was about to sign a massive contract with P&O to train all of their hairdressers on the ships in hair extensions, but my mum got ill. So I always promised that if ever my mum needed me, no matter what I was doing in the world, I would drop everything and go and support her, and that's what I've done. Yes.
Which is very admirable.
Yes.
How's your mum doing?
She's doing very well. She's a fighter. She's been in caring for people a long time, and now she has this horrible thing that's afflicting a lot of our people, dementia. Yes.
It's a horrible disease.
It is. It
You
is.
wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy.
No, but
But at least you're there to support her.
Absolutely.
While pursuing your passion
Yes,
as well and running your
absolutely.
business. And how is
Totally.
the business, the hair business going?
Well, as a result of going to America and being coached by 4 huge names, one of the names in particular, when I went to be coached, it was £5,000 for 15 minutes.
5,000. Now the thing is, I remember when Warren Buffett was interviewed.
Yes.
during the recession, I think in the 80s. He said the best investment anyone can ever make in themselves is in you.
Absolutely, and it is so true.
Absolutely.
Because so many people go to a lot of these speaking events where you get all the sizzle, and they think that they can get by on the sizzle, and they won't invest in themselves to actually go and get the training, but they'll have some great big four-wheeler outside that isn't making any money for them, but is actually a debt. However, when I went to see him, he said to me, before you don't even say hello, I'm going to ask you one question, and depending on how you answer it will determine how I support you.
And you have 15 minutes with him?
Yes, 15 minutes. So he said to me, are you chasing rabbits or hunting elephants? And so I paused, my 3-second pause, and I imagined running after rabbits and only catching one or two, and they're meagre and small and not worth much.
Which a lot of people do, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And then I remembered trying to hunt an elephant and thought, well, wow, where would you start? And even if you killed it, how would you lift it up? And it's a bigger thing.
You need more support to get an elephant.
So I said to him, what type of elephant should I hunt? And he said, very clever woman. And he basically gave me some instructions, and I came back to the UK and I followed them. And within...
So you would recommend?
Oh, within 3 months, I was all over the UK with my hair training business. And I was just about again to go overseas and everything else, when of course my calling for my mother. But for everything there is a silver lining.
Absolutely.
Because what happened was, when I was there, I was thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? And I remembered walking out in the street with my mom, and she looked at this horrible derelict shop, and she said, even in her state, she said, why don't you take this and don't go back to London? Yeah. So I remember thinking, oh gosh. And anyway,
you're looking at that derelict building and thinking, what am I going to make out of this?
And I popped my head around to the next door neighbour, and I said to the gentleman, who owns this shop? And he said, I do. And I said, my mum says I have to rent it off you.
Not you said, but your mum said.
My mum said, she was standing right there. So he opened it and I went into it, and believe me, there was no floor, there was no walls, there was nothing. And I had very limited money.
But that is taking risks, isn't it?
I'm telling you, when you make a decision, you have to follow it through.
Follow it and stick to it.
So I remembered going to all the hairdressers in and around the area and saying, do you want a top consultant? And none of them knew what I was talking about. And I prayed. And I remembered going into this Asian lady's shop where she sells all the hair and everything. And I said to her, would you like a top consultant? She says, I will increase your sales. You don't have to pay me anything. Just put one chair there. I will make the money and I will increase your sales.
And what did she say?
And she said yes.
Wow.
And I made the money, and she could not believe it, to completely do out the salon without any loan. And I did it in 3 months.
Amazing.
Yeah, 3
Within
months.
3 months.
Within 3 months.
You set up your shop?
Absolutely divine.
Without any debt?
Yep, no debt, no loans, no borrowings. And the reason I did that was because originally when I came from Paris, my idea was to set up a salon and franchise it, but I got waylaid with all the training. And so I've literally come full circle back to my original dream, but looking after my mother as well. It's wonderful.
That is good to achieve your dreams, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And now you're training?
Yes, I'm training. I was just awarded by the Good Salon Guide, which is similar to the Michelin star for restaurants. I was just awarded the Good Salon Guide, top 17th hair extension artist in the country.
Wow. Ladies, that's an applause.
Yeah, so that is absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's come back to the book, the pre-launch of the book.
Yes.
Okay. I want us to just talk about 3 things because of time.
Yeah.
What is a rainmaker?
Okay, a rainmaker is a person who will find a sale and bring business in from places where you would not probably imagine they would go. They just absolutely go and find the business and find the sale. And some big companies, corporates, have these people, and their job is purely to go out and find the big contracts, find the big deals, and bring it in.
Do you have to have any skills, like maybe marketing skills, or?
No, you have to have good negotiating skills.
Okay.
You have to have good selling skills, and you have to have good listening skills. Now the thing is, when you decide to set up a business, you are appointed chief rainmaker.
Okay.
And most people, when they set up their business, have not understood what that means.
And a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, a lot of people don't. And I would encourage you to buy the book so you can actually get an in-depth knowledge of what a rainmaker is. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, you mentioned something about listening more and talking less.
Yes.
It reminds me of what Nelson Mandela said. We like to talk,
Absolutely.
but we are not trained to listen.
No.
So if you want to develop the negotiating skills,
Mhm.
you've got to be able to actually learn
Yes.
how to listen to people, isn't it?
Active listening is normally referred to. Now, the thing is, there's a saying, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and there's a reason for that.
There's a good
Listen
reason.
twice as much and talk less.
Mhm.
Now, the thing is, everything that everybody sells is solving a problem. When you buy food, it's solving a problem, hunger. When you buy furniture, it's solving a problem. When you buy a service, it's solving a problem. So when you have a business, you are solving somebody's problem.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing to understand. And if you understand that you're solving a problem, then that takes away the fear of selling.
That's
because
very
you're
true.
concentrating more on solving a
On
problem.
solving the problem that you have identified.
Absolutely. Now, you cannot solve everybody's problem,
No.
but you can identify the people that you want or are most likely to want to solve their problem, and then go talk to them, understand what their problem is, see if there is a synergy, and then tell them how you're going to solve the problem.
That's wonderful. Ladies, gentlemen, did you hear that? You've got to identify the problem. Okay? It's the practical one is identifying the problem.
Absolutely. You get some people, what they do, they go and sit with a client, and they're talking about their product, they're praising their product, they're praising the client, they're praising the famous person they've done, they're showing off in everything, and they've never asked the client, what can I do for you?
Just one last thing. Ask for business at appropriate time. Now somebody may be wondering, so when is the appropriate time to ask for business?
Well, again, if you focus on solving the problem, and you've identified that the client has a problem that needs solving, it is at that time when you're getting the yes, 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 that you ask for the business. Some people, they make an assumption that they've got the business without asking, or they assume they have the business without asking, but they never actually ask for the business. And then, some people, they never actually have the order form ready. Always have your order form ready.
So you've got to be prepared.
Yes, even if it's in your phone, even if it's in, have your order form ready. So that whilst they're in the yes, 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 yes mode, they can yes, yes, yes sign the order.
Oh, then. Now the deal is done.
Absolutely. Because some people, if you let them sleep on it, and then go back, they could be talked out of it by a partner or a friend or somebody else that they're negotiating with. It is always easier if you give a cooling off period. At least then you can negotiate what it is that has got in the way. But if you haven't actually signed anything, then you haven't got an order. If you don't ask and have an answer, you haven't got an order. And I've seen so many people trip up. When I launched my training company in London, my very, very first contract that I had was for £38,000. £38,000. And I had people around me that were scrambling trying to find £1,000 order. That's because I looked at the organisation, I looked at where the gap was, I looked at what they needed, I told them that I could provide it, and then I asked them for the order. And I got it.
You have a wealth of knowledge.
Absolutely.
That entrepreneurs can learn from. A wealth of knowledge. Do you have time for any Q&A? Anyone has any question to ask Diane? 1 or 2 questions? There's a microphone on the table.
What's the name of your book?
The name of the book is The Practical Guide to Negotiating and Selling for Women Entrepreneurs.
And when will it be ready?
It will be ready in a couple of weeks' time. You can pre-order. I did put a link on the Croydon Millionaires Club notification this morning, and inside that you're able to click and pre-order. And I also gave you an extract of 15 questions, 15 habits that you really need to focus on. I think they're very, very helpful, and I think if you follow those 15 habits, you will find that whether it's your business or your work or anything will start to improve. Very important.
Diane, thank you so much.
It's an
for
absolute
taking the time,
pleasure.
and I hope everybody has learned something. But the most important thing is to pre-order the book so you can learn all the 15
Yes.
habits to be able to be a successful entrepreneur. And I always like to end my show with a quote. And today I have a quote which really ties in with what we've been talking about. And it's by Nelson Mandela. And it says, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we led." Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, signing off is Linda Miyoko. Thank you so much.